It is Sunday, and it is time to get some enlightenment. Time to refresh our ethos and learn to unlearn and relearn some of the most treasured and appreciated values of life. Good evening, and a very warm welcome to all our friends who have become an extended family of the Enlightenment team. You have proved that you treasure great values and you are concerned about characteristics which makes us better humans, better than what we were yesterday. We begin with the greetings of peace. May the peace, mercy, and blessings of the Almighty be upon all. Our lives began when we were crying and everyone around us were happy. We will end our lives when we are calm and everyone around us is either crying or sad, or perhaps some of them are happy. The period in between, the life that we spend, makes us among those who leave a mark for the people to cherish after we are long gone. Let us learn and enjoy the little things while we are just. For one day, we may look back and realize that those were really big things. With the words of a man who was ranked as number one in Michael Hart's book titled 100 Most Influential People on the World, I quote, "If someone among you sees wrong, he must try to make it right by his hand if he can, that is, by his action. If he cannot, then by his tongue, that is, verbally oppose. If he cannot, then he should feel it in his heart, that is the minimum expression of conviction." As humans, each one of us have a right towards ourselves, towards others. As a society, one society towards other societies, a country towards other countries, and so on. Do we uphold them? That question brings us to today's topic, what the world wants. It is my pleasure to present to you the speaker of the evening who requires no introduction in these sessions. He's renowned for his speeches on characteristics and values, a social service champion. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Muhammad Imran Sait.
We will be sharing a few inputs on what the world longs for, the world in which we live, the world around us, the people who live in this world, including us. What do we long for? We long for peace, tranquility, happiness, a value-based and a just-based society and a system in place. This is what every human being longs for. And it's these human beings who make up this world. And it equally depends on these human beings whether they want to make this world a paradise or otherwise. My friends, by this time you would have guessed as to what is the topic of discussion. It is nothing but justice, fairness, and equality. Justice, fairness, and equality, no doubt, appear as synonyms, but they're actually not. Equality means giving everybody an equal chance, a level playing field, be it a competition, be it a legal matter, be it something at a micro level or a macro level. Giving everybody a level playing field and an equal opportunity and chance. Fairness refers to a fair procedure adopted, or in the matter of any legal issue, a fair trial expected. And justice refers to a just result. If these three things are in place, then that's an indication of a sound society. For justice is nothing but establishing, justice is the foundation and the bedrock of a sound society. Justice improves the overall quality of life. Justice guarantees development and is a key element in establishing peace and harmony in the world. Be just, beat anyone. Don't be unjust, and no injustice will be done to you. Give the owner his rightful due. All these are noble statements and good to hear. But how much it is going to be translated into action and made a reality is a moot question. Let's be optimistic, though we see unpleasantness all over the world, justice being trampled under the feet of the powerful, the mighty, the wealthy, and the influential. Let's not lose hope. It's only because of the just and fair and good people in this world that this world exists. Though it is slowly becoming a minority, however, we can salvage whatever we have at hand to improve on the numbers so that the just, fair, and good people take over the reins of power and become a majority, where injustice is simply sidelined or even eliminated. That's a challenge, but we have to face it. Because if good people are not going to come out and join hands, then the unjust, the oppressors, the persecutors will have a free rein. And directly or indirectly, everybody is going to get affected. That is something that nobody can deny. Prophet has said, help the oppressed and the oppressor. What does it mean? Help the oppressed makes sense. You go to the rescue, you help them out, you bail them out of the difficult conditions, provide them solace, comfort, and what little can. But how could you help the oppressor? Help the oppressor means stop the oppressor from oppressing. That's helping the oppressor. Make the person realize that he is oppressed and hold his hand. Stop him from oppressing. That's helping the oppressor. We can't be mute spectators to the injustice happening around us. Each individual, in his or own capacity, in his or her own capacity within their circle of influence, should spearhead against issues confronting justice. Each one of us should be an upholder of justice. Within whatever is available, whatever be the means available, whatever abilities that you and I may possess, whatever strength that you and I may possess within our circle of influence, how can we raise the voice against the oppressors? How can we raise the voice against those powers and leaders and oppressors? Every individual has to play his or her part in becoming an upholder of justice. Unless this does not happen, expecting the world to change, expecting justice to prevail is a far-fetched dream. And the possibility of creating a just-based society is absolutely remote and impossible. I will not do anything, but things should happen. This is not going to work. It is something we really need to look into. And this particular aspect of how we are going to play our role can be divided into three parts. Number one, how can we be just to our own selves? The second is, how can we be just to the people around? And the third is, how can we be just to our Creator who has created us, the Almighty who has created us? To make it very simple, I need to be just to my own self, which means I should not commit any act of injustice to my own self, or harm my own self, or do things which is not expected out of me. By watching something vulgar and erotic, I'm causing harm to my own eyes and to my own mental setup, to my own character, my reputation. I'm corrupting my own self. So I'm causing harm to my own self. It's my eyes which I claim. But if I'm not going to use these eyes in a manner as it should be used, and watch lewd, vulgar, erotic, and all kinds of trash, who is it going to cause harm? To my own self. Likewise, I use abusive language through my tongue. I slander people. I shout at them. I use vulgar language. I backbite. I speak lies. Who am I going to harm? My own self. I'm going to reap what I'm going to sow sooner or later. Which means that every organ of my body has its own rights, and the rights have to be rightly addressed and fulfilled in a manner as it should be. And anything which is immoral in character, anything which is lewd, everything that is sinful is only going to cause harm to that individual self. In order that I may be corrupt free in my own self, in my own system, in my own mind and heart, then I'll have to tread the righteous path, the path of justice, the path of virtue, the path of goodness. In that way, I'm actually rejuvenating my body organs and my system and developing it further, which I could be beneficial to the society at large, and most important, forget everything, beneficial to my own self. I will derive satisfaction. I will derive peace of mind. I will derive tranquility. I'll derive contentment and happiness, because justice is the bedrock and the foundation, be it an individual or at the societal level or a global level. A man who murders, a man who cheats, a man who commits fraud, a man who steals, time is witness, history is witness that these people have never been spared. They've either committed suicide, or the death has been very pathetic, or they have been behind bars. Their days and nights are a trauma. At the end of the day, they meet a very unfortunate end. I think you will definitely agree with me on that. The temporal pleasure At that moment, that excitement which made an individual commit those crimes, one has to pay a very heavy price for it, sooner or later. The second part is, how can we be just to the people around? Begin from your home. Be just and fair with the children. I remember one particular incident where a man came and said, I've gifted my son with something which he really liked or treasured. The question put forth was, have you given such gifts to all your children? The answer was no. He said, then it's wrong. If you have to give a gift to one child, make sure that all the other children are also given gifts of equal kind. That's justice, that's fairness, begins at home. We can't be biased with our own children, which in future will lead to heartburns, jealousy, envy, hatred between them. Who's going to create the precedent? You and I, as fathers, as elders of the family. We need to set the ball rolling ourselves first at home in a very micro level. Are we being just and fair to our wives, sisters, mothers? These are the women who most often are exploited, whose rights are not given, whose rights have been trampled, and being the weaker sex, their voice is not heard or even sometimes ignored, most often ignored. And this is rampant throughout the globe, be it in any religion. Women are not given their due rights of inheritance. Brothers squander away the wealth of their parents, which have left behind an empire, and the sisters most often remain silent. They may be crying within their hearts, for their rights have been trampled upon or violated. Do you mean to say such brothers will ever be able to lead a peaceful life? Definitely not. That sorrow, that feeling of disgust, that disappointment, that helplessness is not going to go unheard. Temporal life, temporal happiness would not last for long. How the men treat women today, their wives in particular. Wives become so vulnerable at the misbehavior and the male chauvinism shown by the male folk most often, except those who are cultured, civilized, understanding husbands, which are very rare today, who understand the pain, the feelings, and the sentiments of their wives, and be a source of support and fight for their just rights. Sometimes it's the mother on the receiving end, sometimes the wife on the receiving end. How are you going to balance between the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law? Play a just role. Don't be biased. Never be partial and biased in rendering justice. And one has to be very courageous to render justice. It needs guts. It needs a mature understanding. It needs studying both the versions before concluding, or before opining, or before coming to any conclusion. You have both sides of the versions. And never say, oh, let them do what they want. Not just mother-in-law, daughter, in any matter. Two friends, two individuals, two colleagues, two classmates. Don't be a mood spectator. Go ahead. Do what best you can. As I said, within your circle of influence, whatever you can, be an upholder of justice. Don't be scared. Don't worry about the consequences. call a spade and have the guts to do it. Why should I get into the bad books of so and so? Let me remain silent. This is again being part of the unjust system. By keeping silent yourself, you're being part of the unjust system. You are equally a sinner as the oppressor. As the oppressor is the sinner, remaining silent when injustice takes place makes you a sinner equally. Give credence and support to the one who's fighting for justice. Justice delayed is justice denied. We know that. Today we find how many people are running behind advocates and how the entire legal system has become corrupted. Justice is denied, justice is delayed. There are people languishing in the jails and FIRs have not been registered and they've been lying there for years together, no justice. 14 years, 15 years, finally they are acquitted, proved innocent, but 15 years of their prime life, who's going to pay for it? Who's going to compensate for it? Is it not the responsibility of the authorities to come to the rescue? Who's going to set right that image which has got tarnished permanently? What happens to the trauma which the entire family undergoes, the stigma the family undergoes? Who's going to compensate for all that? Who's going to bring about the change in this complete corrupt system? Are we just going to keep watching, closing our eyes, turning a blind eye or a deaf ear and walking off? The future generation is going to pay the price and they are going to hold you culpable and responsible for not taking efforts in changing the system. System has become corrupted. That's because people have become materialistic. People want the temporal gain and the temporal pleasures, and at the cost of spoiling and ruining somebody's life, they derive pleasure. And are we going to just watch all this? What you and I can do a little to change the system. Are the advocates starting their cases before taking up the cases? Are they accepting the cases based on ethics? Sorry, no, that's not happened. As long as the client pays them the money, they don't care. When they know clearly that the concerned client itself is unjust and fighting for an unjust cause, but for the sake of money, he cares a damn for what he is come to him. He just takes the case because for him, money is what matters. There's no ethics at all today. Needless to say about the judges, how corrupt they are. Let me not go overboard. But still, we still have faith in our judiciary. The high courts, the Supreme Court, we still have faith in them. And many a time they have proved that they have given justice by and large. We only pray that the system of justice is strengthened by good people, by ethical advocates and judges who can once again bring back that lost faith in the majority of the people of this country back into bring it into confidence, and the confidence in the judiciary strengthens by the day. Ethics have a great role to play. Today, moral values and ethics have nosedived and have hit rock bottom. Who's going to bring it out of that abyss of deprivation? You and I have to play a major role in it. Ethics and moral values have become only words in the dictionary, not found practically anywhere. But though we are a small group, though this number may be less, but we can still make our voices heard. We can reach out and do what best we can to stop the oppression and injustice taking place all over. Particularly, even I said, women and employees, they are the most affected of the lot. The widows, the orphans, the destitutes, the employees. Prophet has said, give your employee his salary or give the wages of the worker before his sweat dries up. That's justice. Before the sweat dries up, he's worked for you. He's slogged it out for you. He's put in heart and soul in his work. Give him his salary and wages before his sweat dries up. Don't delay it. That will be a gross injustice. If possible, add a little more and give. That's generosity on your part. That will create gratitude, affection, love, compassion. Those are additional values. But basically, at least justice should never be compromised at all. I can speak a lot on this particular topic, but all of you are qualified. Today, this world has a lot of qualified people, but the sad part is education today has become a commodity, and ethics and moral values are not there. And any education without moral values is in fact dangerous to the society. It will do more harm than good. And the last point which I wanted to discuss is our justice and the rights that we have towards our Creator, who has created all of us, who has created this universe and made an equitable distribution in providing his blessings and favors upon his entire creation. Merit-based justice, need-based justice. That's how our Creator has created this world and provided people based on their merit and what they deserve and what their responsibilities are. That's equitable distribution of his blessings and bounties. And he's created a just-based system, and he doesn't want this just-based system to get disturbed. For that is going to be the wake-up call. And if any nation or community or a group or an individual resorts to acts of injustice and oppression, is not going to last for long. Such communities have been destroyed, have been wiped out of the map of the earth with various disasters and calamities that had overtaken them, mostly unawares. And they've been wiped out from the map of the earth. And the way we can fulfill the rights are not to associate partners with God, who is the one and only. That's gross injustice. He's the one who's provided for us. He's the one who's provided sunlight, energy, water, air, and everything that we need, free of cost. And when he alone is instrumental in creating this entire universe, all alone, unique, one and only, the self-sufficient, then we need to worship him alone. That's justice. Associating partners with God, having multiple gods, or considering others having a role to play in this creation is gross injustice. So I said justice to our own self, which I explained to you. Justice to the people, which plays the major role, which takes away the major chunk of our time and energy and our life in this world. Because we interact with people morning and evening, day and night, at home, with the neighbors around, with our friends, with our colleagues, with the people living in the society, the community in which we live in, with our countrymen. And how are we fulfilling the rights towards them? Are we being just in our affairs? Are we playing a major role or playing a proactive role in ensuring that justice is given to everybody and nobody is being deprived of their just dues or nobody is being exploited? Come forward, play a proactive role. When you see injustice taking place in front of you, you will not lose anything. In fact, you will gain tremendous happiness and contentment that I've done something fruitful and productive today. And mind you, when you're gone from this world, the world will always remember you as a man who fought for justice. Those are the values that we need to inculcate in our lives, and not to forget the Creator who brought us into existence, to thank him and to fulfill his rights, which is nothing but being subservient to him and him alone. Thank you, friends, for this patient hearing. I'm sure this value covers all other values. If there's no justice, where's the question of love, gratitude, compassion, mercy? Nothing is going to be there. Everything will become cosmetic. Only justice will bring about happiness, will bring about love, affection between people, and everybody gets their rights. Won't this world become a paradise? Definitely yes. You will enjoy it. I will enjoy it. Our future generation will enjoy it. Our future generation will salute us for providing them a just system where they will also live and enjoy life and make the best use of the life provided to them. It's our duty to make sure that we pass it on to the next generation, and during our lifetime, what we can do to the best of our abilities to make this world a paradise. Let's join hands and do it together. Thank you so much for this patient hearing. Thank you once again.